Brave New World is a narrative of a technological advance that controls, subdues, and basically destroys mankind. And lots of people have read it. Nobody ever believed that it would ever come to pass. However, it's going to be one of the most important pieces of intel that I'm going to put out. And the reason I'm saying it, I want people to share it. Sharing's caring. I send these out to thousands and thousands of people. And if they all shared it to, the handful or the hundreds or the thousands or whoever sent it to, we will get millions and millions of people to watch and listen to what we're going to say here. Satan and AI, we see the emergence of AI, okay? And we'll also see the emergence, right, of a battle for your brain, okay? The acronym, right, is as it states, right, a satanic, silent assassination through adaptive networks. Now, silent assassination, you would require some type of weaponry, something to control, to subdue, okay? Now, obviously, the battle for your brain's already in play. We see the psyops, we see the distractions, we see all of the, the globalist sectarianism, etc. It's all part of a plan. Because while everybody's distracted, thinking about some other, we have an AI-operated system, right, that's now just basically becoming more and more aware, situationally aware as time goes on. So a very interesting document by Nathan in 2023. Now, a lot of the people who suffer from these attacks, individuals who are a little bit more sensitive or individuals who are specifically under attack, right, we know about. So we know quite a lot of people, unfortunately, have been injected, earlier chipped to build out the mesh network, this fifth generation mesh network. It's quite an interesting statement there. It's strange how biblical prophecy, science, military technology, and sociology seem to converge at this point in time of our species. Now, that was written by Robert Duncan, and he was talking about a project called Soul Catcher. And that's what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about Soul Catcher and how the silent assassination through adaptive networks will be facilitated. And that's why we're here to save souls. We can't save them all. We can only save those that want to be saved. The active state, an AI-operated active state, is basically controlling the state apparatus through an AI operating platform. Well, it all sounds really good on the face of it, but you can understand from my perspective, it's extremely problematic. Okay, so we've got this centered in Germany. They're dealing with governments currently across the world, all about this global governance, where it's going to be centered out of Germany. Okay. Now, we know there's a lot of flies in the ointment, but that is an irrelevance because, as you can see, you've got the World Economic Forum, right, who are working in conjunction with these organizations. And basically, they're the driver of this satanic AI nano-operated world. Now, Gates, he didn't predict anything. He planned, it was a pandemic. We've seen the Epstein email communications, the plan to get everybody injected the whole way to terrorize the general population. So Gates, a main actor in this criminal enterprise, is terrorizing the general population. But what was the real purpose? The real purpose was to inject people with these tracking technologies, okay? We knew from the get-go it was some type of tracking technology that the defense, DARPA, etc., had been working on for quite a number of years. It didn't just come out of a BSL-4 weapons lab in China. all of this information was actually passed over to them, where they could then carry on with the development of a tracking technology. The graphite ferritic nanomaterials and the upconverted nanoparticles can be manipulated for the neural population. The upconversion, right, facilitates the assassination, the silent assassination through adaptive networks. Now, obviously, you need a network to do it. So we'll look through the network as the European Union states here is all part of an intelligence transport system. Okay, all sounds quite innocuous until you actually see what's really going on. So this technological advance with the sensors, mass irradiation of people in the area, it's all under the 802.15.6. But hang on a minute. Not only is it for automotive uses and tracking vehicles through an area, it's also for the BAN, the medical body area network. So anything that was injected into you, where you're now being tracked through this particular standard as a vehicle or a vessel through the space, okay? So medical healthcare, human body, this is the standard that they're actually working to, and this is these adaptive real life learning technologies. Now, these characters, part of Siemens, have deployed across the whole of London a living laboratory. Now, Transport for London said this fusion technology doesn't exist. The reason why they've said it doesn't exist because they know that I know that fusion is a radar, laser detection, ranging, stereoscopic vision, video technology, which would be mass invasive. It would be illegal. In the United Kingdom, this would be a GDPR breach. It'd be illegal to deploy. However, that's why it's been done covertly. Part of the equipment that Transport for London and their legal team said do not exist are these radar elements. And the reason why they've said that this radar doesn't exist, even though we know that it does, right? They say it doesn't exist. And the reason why they say it doesn't exist is because it's this. That's a gun sight. That's phased array. It's sitting on a ceramic head. As soon as I see ceramics, I get quite concerned because some of the ceramics we used to use for antennas used to get pretty hot. So consequently, ceramic head plus that heat sink, you've got an aluminium heat sink. So I can tell you now that's got massive capacity to kill. And this is a radiation hardened piece of kit. The electronics sit in the back end of this so that they don't burn out. And that's what we call radiation hardened. AI using fusion and electro-optical passive radio frequency data capture. Okay, so data capture, when you've got phased array, we know it's part of an electronic warfare technology, right? So you've got a mix of optical band, electromagnetic radiation emissions, lasers, infrared in particular. So you've got infrared lasers here that operate will cause blindness, sickness, and attack the enemy's hardware, okay? What we discovered in Newcastle was this. So here we'll have a 48 NIR transcranial scanner. This is the bit that I'm getting really interested in because of the soul capture. You know, I talked about soul capture before. Well, that's a bit we're going to discuss when we get to the hardware. You've got a stereoscopic vision system here, and you've got 24 Cat4 lasers in the head. You've got a 32 cavity backphased array electronic assault, and these are weapon systems. Yeah, this is all part of fusion. It's battlefield derived. The laser diodes, this is the Fabry-Perot structure, this is the laser symbol. Transport for London said it doesn't exist. And here we'll have a large harness to deliver the power required for this killing piece of hardware. Okay, So it's 24 Cat4 lasers at 2,200 milliwatts per each. And you can see the vias in this D3A. We've taken the fabric Perot structure off. That's that little case. We're taking that off, and you can see these small vias. So that's basically thermal management to dissipate the heat, because these things are going to get pretty hot. Pulse modulated at 3 amps. There's enough energy going to be emitted from there for transcranial strike, which would be called, it's part of neurostrike, a weapons system. What we also found, so let's go back to this 48 NIR transcranial scanner. Now, this is what I'm concerned about, is this piece of hardware. So you've got a stereoscopic system. There's enough computing power in this hardware, because I'm not going to pull it to pieces, but we have had a look at it. It's got massive computing capability on site. So where this piece of kit is actually situated, it's got massive this piece of hardware has got massive computing capability. So what are the data centers for? These massive data centers, and this is what we're talking about, and this is what I'm trying to get to, is about the soul capture. Because if I'm going to interrogate your neural systems with this phased array, these 48 phased array, plus the stereoscopic vision engine, and I've got all this processing, what am I really doing? What are they really trying to do? Yeah. Now, I didn't design this equipment, but I can tell you it's extremely concerning in relation to if I was going to capture your neurological thoughts, etc. So if I was going to capture your soul, this potentially is the equipment that's going to do that. However, at the same site, you also have this. All right, now that's a send and receive. It's phased array. You can see the ceramics. It's sitting on a ceramic bed. It's a cavity-backed unit. It's 32 antennas there, and a little bit of wires. It has the capability to kill you. So at the same site where I've got a stereoscopic invasive, neurological invasive piece of hardware, you can see it there. It's aimed at the, look, that's it there. So when you're standing underneath it, it's actually scanning your brain. It'd probably give you brain cancer. This will definitely give you brain cancer. This will definitely cause cataracts and damage your eyesight. But if we go back to this piece of hardware, it's directly on top of your head. It's scanning, and this, I'm pretty confident in what I'm saying. This is the soul capture technology. And the reason for the data centers, these mass data centers, so they can harvest your soul. It's the soul capture. Now, once they've captured your soul, this 32 cavity back can kill you. That's the pattern for it. Electromagnetic weapon system, phased array. That's you, number 50. So they've just harvested your soul, and then they've just shot you up and you're dead. We know that these systems can covertly create adverse health effects. So let's say if they weren't actually capturing your soul, they just want to make you sick, or they want to give you cancer, they want to trigger the lanthanides in that COVID-19 injectable, or the cesium, the radioactive cesium, whatever it is that they wanted to do, this can cause significant ill health and death. So this is probably one of the most important videos and bits of intel I've ever put out. So what I'm going to say to people is, please share it. We're trying to save souls. And as you can see, by these DARPA projects, right? These DARPA projects that were carried out, right, was all about soul capture, okay? So capturing the soul, it's what they're really after, to take control So please share far and wide. We're in the soul saving business. And if we don't remove these weapons, believe us, they're not there to monitor people traveling through the transport infrastructure. God bless you, everybody. God bless.